Report a shot fired at officers trying to stop the vehicle.
We have one officer shot.
We got shots fired. Sounded like an automatic firearm.
Copy, code red, shots fired.
We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the warehouse.
Now it's Shots Fired with your hosts TJ Kurgan, Dinah Death Milberg, and the lovely Crystal Powers.
That's right. I'm back. I'm back on the air. I'm back in the world of the living. I don't know if I had COVID. Don't ask me. I don't get tested. I didn't wear a mask. I didn't leave my house out of respect for the people around me. I'm the kind of human being that when I get sick, I don't go around other people. That way I don't spread whatever it is that I have. And other people, you know, they have to be taught this. They have to be taught how to wash their hands. Every bathroom you go into has a diagram how to wash your hands. What kind of world are we living in when people just don't, you know, have the common sense to know how to wash their hands or to stay home when they're sick? My wife got it first. She brought it home. Within 2 days, the whole house was sick. My son, his roommate, my wife, his girlfriend, everybody had varying symptoms. Pretty much a head cold, a little bit of an upper respiratory thing, but it's over. Yesterday, I have to apologize to you, listeners. I made you listen to a rerun. And the reason I made you listen to a rerun is because I had car trouble. That's right. I wish this show was about cars sometimes, you know, like, because I could talk about cars as much as I can talk about guns and self-defense. You could actually defend yourself with a car. Fish, did you know that?
You can talk about anything you want, really.
I know. That's kind of the beauty of it.
And a car is a weapon, so
it can be a weapon. It can be a defensive weapon. That's a great topic for today's show. But instead, I'd like to talk about the beautiful weather because it's fall. And it's here in grand fashion. The weather, the humidity's gone. The dew point is super low. It's breezy. It's like 50 something at night. This is what you call fall carry weather. That's the thing that makes me the most excited. I love the changing seasons. Don't get me wrong. I love Florida, but I like the part of Florida that I go to because it has a little bit of a seasonal change. There is some time to wear a hoodie. There's some time that you can wear a flannel. Why do I like hoodies and flannels? Because I can carry bigger guns. It is the fall carry season, folks. That means that you can start carrying a larger frame firearm. It means that you need to start thinking about carrying a flashlight as well if you don't already. Why would you do that? Well, it's really simple. We have this stupid thing called daylight savings time. And if you live in a place where daylight savings time messes with your life, you know that this time of the year we start having more and more darkness. It's going to get darker earlier and earlier and earlier.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Isn't this the last year we're going to do that?
I heard that. Doesn't President Biden have to sign it, though, or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we should look into that, because I'll tell you what.
I don't know if he's capable.
Well, he's capable of signing all these gun bills. So I'm sure he can sign he's going to buy everybody's votes with paying off all these student loans and by doing away with, that's a nice bribe. Do away with daylight savings to vote for him. I don't know. That's a pretty good bribe. I don't have any.
I would just keep the daylight savings. I mean, I hate daylight savings. I always have hated getting dark earlier, but I think it's an appropriate trade.
Well, here's the thing.
He's not going to buy my vote.
Here's the thing. We're in St. Louis. We're in the Midwest. But this works in Florida. This works in Chicago. It works in Detroit. It works in Colorado. Wherever you have crime, you also have seasonal crime, and as the fall begins and as darkness sets earlier and earlier, and as the holidays grow closer, you have more opportunity for crime, right? As Christmas gets closer, crime goes up. We're talking about robberies. We're talking about carjackings. We're talking about, pretty much in the summertime, your crime on crime goes up. Where it's more gang related crime, they shoot one another. It's when the fall starts to hit that we start seeing more and more crime against people, right? Because crime happens a lot more in the dark than it does in the light. Evil prevails in the dark. And when there's more dark, there's more crime. And so that's where we're headed right now. We're going into the fall. We're going into the midterms. We're going into political instability, and we're going into, God knows what the liberals are going to do if they don't, protect their majorities during the midterms. I'm quite sure we'll see riots again. I don't know if it'll be right after the midterms or not, but nonetheless, we're headed into some dark times. We know this. And whether it's figuratively because it's the fall, or it's, or more real reality because it's the fall, or figuratively because of the political crap that's going on in this country, the fall season is here, and that means that you can carry bigger guns because you're wearing looser clothing. So, for example, if, in the summertime, like me, when I'm wearing a pair of shorts or a tank top, I might get away with only carrying my knife, or I might be carrying a Glock 43X.
Now you can get the Uzi out, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. The Uzi you might want to wait till winter so that you actually have a winter coat to put that under. But no, as we get into the fall and we start being able to, we're required essentially by the weather, and our environment to wear looser clothing. It allows some more customability of your carry, and it allows you to carry some of those guns that you otherwise don't get to carry. That full frame 1911 or that big SIG 320, or a Glock 17 if you're a big boy, something like that. A lot of guys also start carrying flashlights on their gun this time of the year, whether, a rail mounted flashlight. So to do that, you obviously have to have a holster for it. We actually make holsters while you wait at TacticalSht.T in St. Peter's. So if you have a weapon mounted light and you'd like to put it on your gun, but you don't have a holster for it, come on into TacticalSht.T. Takes about 30 minutes. Starts at about $40 to $50. Bring the light. We need the gun and the light, and we can make that holster while you wait. It could be an inside the waistband. It could be an outside the waistband. It can go in the 5 o'clock behind your hip, or it can go in the appendix. All kinds of options. I believe we're even doing drop legs now for, range day and stuff like that. But enough of the commercial. The fall allows you to carry bigger guns and flashlights. A flashlight, I'm going to talk to the ladies out there for a second. We did an entire show about this, but it was a long time ago, and I think it's important to go back to the basics. It's like shooting fundamentals, right? A flashlight is something that you should carry all the time, all year long, in your purse, in your pocket, especially at night in transitional spaces, parking garages, parking lots, between the office and the car, between the car and the house. Flashlights are awesome because a flashlight can be a real self-defense tool. It can be a deterrent and it can be a weapon. Let me explain. So a flashlight, imagine you're a woman or a man, doesn't matter, and you're walking to your car in the parking lot. It's a dark parking lot. It's Christmas time. You're shopping. It's late. You're walking to the car, and someone starts paralleling you. Your spidey senses go up. The hair on the back of your neck tingles, and you notice that someone is paralleling you. Paralleling means they're walking in the same direction as you in the parking lot, but they're on the other side or maybe another row, and they're walking at the same speed as you. You further notice that they are watching you, and you're walking to your car. If you're carrying that flashlight, the first thing that we teach to do is just kick that light on and kind of kick it towards their feet as you're walking. Don't shine it right in their face. Don't be that guy or that girl. But you shine that light towards their feet, just kind of flick it at them real quick. And what that just did is that messes with their OODA loop. Their OODA loop. OODA stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. It's something that all humans do all the time. Observe, orient to what they see, decide what to do about it, and then take action. Everybody has an OODA loop. It's happening all the time. It's a nonstop cycle. Criminals have it. And when you flash that light towards their feet, suddenly they go from stalking their prey to wondering, why does that chick have a light? Why did she just, is she a police officer? What else does she have? You know what? I'm going to find a different victim because that just messed with my OODA loop. We'll talk more about that when I get back after the break. It's very yacht rock radio of you, Fish.
Well, that's more 80. That's more early 80. I think this kind of barely missed the yacht rock. I was just to see what you would do if I put some lovey-dovey song on. I'm not serenading you or anything.
Yeah, I'll just wink at you through the glass.
Actually, I just hit the wrong button, to be honest with you. It was a wrong button.
It was a misfire. It was also known as a negligent discharge. When you accidentally,
That's right.
When you accidentally shoot your gun,
that.
there is no such thing as an accident. It's a negligent discharge.
What was supposed to happen was this.
Yep. Yeah, that would have been better.
I just get like all these open screens and buttons everywhere, and monitors all around me like a cockpit, and I just hit the wrong thing. I'm not gonna lie.
It happens. It's a good thing you're not a fighter pilot, because you would have sent a rocket off into somebody.
No kidding.
All right. So we're talking about the fall, the beautiful weather, the fact that we're going to have more darkness to deal with as the sun sets earlier and earlier. And I was recommending flashlights. We talked about how a flashlight can be used as a deterrent in a situation where you feel uncomfortable as a woman or even a man. Just simply having that flashlight and being able to kick that light towards the feet of someone that's making you feel uncomfortable, letting them know that you see them, you acknowledge they're there, you know they're there, and you got something for them. And it messes with their OODA loop, their observe, orient, decide, and act. That's how we all make decisions about everything. You're walking to the street, you observe the street. Is there a car coming? You orient yourself to the fact that there's a car coming. You decide not to step into the street until the car passes, and then you act. You stop walking. The car passes. Then you observe that the car passes. You orient yourself that it's gone by. You decide to step into the street, and you act, and you step into the street. It is what we do every day about everything. OODA, 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 nonstop. Science. It's kind of cool. But when a criminal is in their OODA loop, they are focused on you as the prey. They have a plan, knowing damn well that the plan never goes the way it's planned once it meets the enemy. I believe that there's some sort of quote from Sun Tzu in reference to that. But we all know that a plan never survives contact with the enemy. In this case, the criminal's enemy is you. And if you could mess with their OODA loop, you can avoid a situation. With the flashlight, it's really easy. Now, let's say that the flashlight messed with their OODA loop, but they decide to commit you anyway. They just like the way you look. You got a Rolex on, your purse, you got that Louis Vuitton. You've now been targeted. They're making the angular move. They're walking towards you. Now you can literally point that light 300 lumens or more right in their face. That's pretty bright. Have you ever had a 300 or 1,000 lumen light flash in your face? It's pretty disrupting. You put it in their face and you say, hey, whoa, stop. Use your voice. Command them to cease coming towards you. Now let's say that doesn't work, right? Now they're coming hard. That flashlight can become a weapon, because a flashlight in your hand, what is that? It's a roll of quarters. It allows you to punch a whole lot harder. And if you use a hammer fist strike with the flashlight in your fist, a hammer fist, imagine your fist is a hammer and you're hammering down on the bridge of the nose of the bad guy. That flashlight's going to break that nose. It's going to cut. It's going to poke that eye with that hammer fist.
What about the old key in the fist thing?
That's an okay thing. That's going to scratch. It's going to poke. And any weapon is better than nothing. But, I would recommend the flashlight, because I'm talking more to women here. Men have some other options typically based on their size and their skill set. But if you're a woman and a man comes up to grab you or grab your purse, and you do what's called a waiter tray, right? So imagine a waiter holding a tray, right? He holds a tray with his palm of his hand up, and the tray is on his hand with his elbow bent, right? Are you picturing this out there in the theater of the mind land? So basically you shove that guy's chin up. His chin is the tray, right? Which causes his neck to bend backwards, which is something he cannot avoid because you don't have any muscles in your neck to fight that movement. And then you take that flashlight, which is now on because you've pushed the on button, and you hammer fist him right in the eyeball or right in the bridge of the nose. It's called a waiter tray hammer fist. It's a combination move. You got to practice it a little bit on a dummy, or if you have a husband. And the move ends up becoming what we call a flash bang, right? A flash bang is a device that you can actually buy at Tactical ST that you throw in a room before you make tactical entry, and it explodes and makes noise, distracting the people in the room. But this flashbang is the flash of the flashlight, 300 plus lumens in the eye at the same moment as the flashlight strikes the eye socket or the bridge of the nose. And that's why you get the idea of flash bang. That one movement can cause enough disorientation, pain, and remorse for choosing you as a victim to allow you to get away, to run, or to get some distance and then go to your next line of defense, which should be, if you have it, a firearm. And if they don't stop, obviously you may be authorized to go hot with that firearm because they've now proven that they are trying to hurt you and do great physical harm. Your hand self-defense did not work. Now you have to escalate to that weapon.
Hey, I got a random, just off-the-cuff question.
Yeah.
Probably the answer's obvious, but this just occurred to me. Why do they call them firearms?
Well, I imagine it has something to do with ancient Indians seeing the fire spit from the arms of the white man.
I assume something like that. Yeah. I just assumed.
That'd be an interesting Google quest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you do that off the air? Let me know what you find.
Okay.
Firearms. So anyway, flashlights are cool, especially for women. Ever since my wife saw this in action at WOFT in Florida, she always carries a little Surefire flashlight in her purse. They are $50. It's got a button on the back of the light. It's about the size of a roll of nickels or a roll of quarters. Really short thing, fits right in the hand. And it's also legal in every place to carry one. You could take it in the concert venue. You could take it in the mall. You could take it in the post office. You could take it on an airplane. TSA will not take a flashlight from you. Interesting, isn't it? So a flashlight, a lot of people don't think about it, but it can be a great deterrent. It can be a self-defense weapon of the first defense level. You've got empty hands and then you've got closed hands. This would be a closed hand level of self-defense. So
I found your answer, by the way.
Okay, what you got?
Early firearms were fired by applying a burning object to a hole that opened into the interior of the gun.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a tedious process. Firing was the term used because one would literally apply fire.
Yeah.
And so a firearm uses gunpowder, and essentially you can say fire, so hence the name firearm. Why are guns called arms? Probably for the same reason swords were. They were an extension of the user's arm.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So I kind of figured something like that.
Yeah. I kind of forgot there for a minute that swords were also known as arms. Arms are weaponry, right? Because it is an extension of your arm. That's pretty cool. All right, hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about, more infringement on your rights. This time, it's the credit card companies, and it's not their choice. All right, just the other day, American Express, MasterCard, and Visa all basically were told by ISO, which is one of their regulatory bodies, that there is going to be a new code in town, a transaction tracking code to basically begin tracking and monitoring credit card transactions as they pertain to firearm and ammo purchases. So basically, let's talk about what that means, because people are freaking out. My customer service department has been inundated with calls and emails since the weekend with people genuinely concerned about this. And they have good reason to be genuinely concerned. I want to talk about what we know and what we don't know, and what we should be concerned about and what we shouldn't be concerned about. And so here's the deal. Up until now, gun stores or firearms transactions and ammunition sales have not been tracked by credit card companies as their own category of business. Now, what does that mean? Have you ever gone to, I use American Express a lot. So when I go to American Express, I'm able to log into my account and I'm able to see my last month's spending on my statement or in my login. I can see a pie chart and it shows me what percentage I spent on shipping, what percentage I spent on retail goods, what percentage I spent on software, what percentage I spent on travel. I'm able to see that. It's great for accounting. It's great for understanding budgeting, knowing where your money's going. But until now, firearms and ammunition have always fallen under general retail. In other words, generic retail. They were not their own category. Okay. Now, I think there might be a category for outdoor, but they weren't. They were under the general category. And so now there's going to be a firearms and ammunition category. I think the worst news here for men and some women all over the country is not that the federal government are going to see what you're spending on ammunition and firearms. It's what your significant other is going to see that you're spending on ammunition and firearms. My wife is going to literally kill me because we spend on our American Express. Now, this is a company card, okay, but we spend about $750,000 a month on American Express. $750,000 a month. And now that is buying ammunition. It's buying guns. It's buying boxes, and it's sending shipments, and it's paying vendors. It's all of those things. So, dear God, imagine how big my firearms and ammunition transactions are going to be. My wife's she's going to look at that and be like, look, why do we sell so much of this guns and ammo stuff? Knowing that the margins are so horrible. But no, I'm being facetious, but as a regular person, let's say you spend $600 one month on a case of ammunition. Now it's going to show up that you spent $600 on a case of ammunition in your statement. Maybe your wife didn't know what that company was for, and you were just kind of sweeping it under the rug. You're going to get caught now. That's a problem. Now the bigger problem, though, is the fact that they're doing this. They're doing it to help identify suspicious transactions, to do their fiduciary responsibility and report suspicious transactions. Basically, this was a move by the gun lobby, the anti-gun lobby, I should say, specifically New York. It was the New York government and some big pension groups. That sounds very mafioso. New York and pension groups. I don't know how that has anything to do with credit cards, but they're the ones that pressured this to happen. And all of the news is about it's happening. It's done. There's a code. They're going to begin tracking it. And it's all about reporting and identifying suspicious transactions because supposedly the guy that shot up Las Vegas, supposedly with bump stocks, you remember him? He spent $95,000 on credit cards before his attack. We know the guy from Uvalde also used credit cards because he's an 18-year-old immigrant. He's got an Amex or a Visa. It's just not the Visa to be here, maybe. I'm just kidding. That's not really a thing. But nonetheless, he used a credit card, and so that's how they use that as an excuse, right? Because the Uvalde shooter used an electronic payment to buy those two guns and all that ammo. What are if two guns and a couple thousand rounds of ammo is going to be a suspicious transaction, they are literally going to be reporting 20 to 30 of my customers a day. And I'm just one lowly little ammunition and gun company that sells guns and ammunition on a national level online. They will literally have to report thousands of Americans, if not tens of thousands of Americans every day, if they're going to list a suspicious transaction as a couple guns and a couple thousand rounds. What a liberal media would call a stockpile. You ever seen that? There's a full-page article about this stockpile of weapons that were found. And I always think, those are rookie numbers. You need to pump those numbers up. My gun collection is well over $100,000. And I've got enough ammo to last me several years of enjoyable shooting and tyranny. But even my collection would pale in the light of some of y'all's. I mean, some guys collect a lot of guns and a lot of ammunition, and it has nothing to do with violence. It has everything to do with a hobby. It has everything to do with an addiction. It has everything to do with a sport. And and so what they're not talking about, and I think what we need to demand answers for as MasterCard users, as Visa users, as American Express users and vendors, we need to demand what is suspicious. What are you going to be reporting on? What is going to trigger this report? So if somebody reaches out to me and wants to buy a 13 or 14,000 round drum of Lake City Winchester Olin 5.56 ammunition because they want to split it with their buddies, and it's $6,500 for a barrel of ammunition, is that going to be suspicious? Or are the feds going to go visit my customer? When a gun shop orders a pallet of ammunition from a distributor or from an ammunition manufacturer, will that trigger a suspicious transaction because of the dollar amount? Or is it going to be suspicious transactions based on historical mass shooting BS, meaning a couple guns in a small window of time, or 1,000 rounds? And literally it's what everybody buys, 1,000 rounds. 1,000 rounds is a standard case of ammunition. And so if you're stocking up for the fall and you like to go to the range and you're getting a case of 7.62 and a case of 9mm and a case of 5.56 and a case of 22, is that going to be a suspicious transaction? And who the hell has got the time, if that's a suspicious transaction, who is going to be the police that investigate each of those suspicious transactions? ATF going to do that too? Going to come knock on your door? Hey, saw that you ordered 2 ammo cans from Cabela's the other day. What's that all about? Yeah. So this is scary. We need to demand answers as to what is suspicious, because they're admitting that they're going to report on it and that there is some sort of trigger. And I need to know what that is. In the meantime, guys in my industry, I got the ball rolling this morning. We're going to start taking check. We're going to start taking ACH. We're going to start taking, Western Union. We're going to offer all kinds of other options for you to order your ammo and your guns for those of you that are concerned about being tracked and or just don't want your wife to know about it. But that ball is already in motion. Years ago, this kind of reminds me of Obama's Operation Choke Point in 2013, where he dumped ammunition and firearms sales with porn and drugs and everything else, even though ammunition and guns are legal. And, well, I guess porn in this country is legal, but whatever. Operation Choke Point was a real pain for the gun industry for years because it basically pressured banks like Chase to not provide merchant services to gun shops and online gun retailers. In other words, not allow them to use Amex, Visa, and MasterCard. It's been a problem for me. PayPal shut us down. PayPal stole $25,000 from us because of Operation Choke Point. We never got it back. By the way, if you use PayPal, you're an idiot. PayPal is not a bank. Your money is not insured by the FDIC, and they can take it all at any point and just say that you didn't follow their community guidelines. And for that, they're fining you all the money in your account. That's what they did to us, $25,000. But anyway, we need to figure out what's going on with this credit card stuff. Until then, cash is king at Tactical SH*T.
Don't sound like they were a pal to you, by the way.
No.
Sorry.
Well, that's all right. We are, from now on, At TacticalSht.T in our retail stores, we will give you a 3% discount to pay with cash because we're going to stop sending so much money to these credit card companies. We're going to stop making them so much money with the firearms industry. And as soon as we can set that up on our website, we're going to do that too. Now, it's going to create more work for us. You know, our customer service department's going to have to chase you down, get you to mail in a check, get you to send in a wire or whatever it is. But if that's the option you want to take, you want to save the 3%, you want to keep it from your wife, you want to keep it from Uncle Sam, then that's fine. We'll do that too. All right. I think I've beaten that one to death. Speaking of Lake City ammunition and drums, a couple months ago, we reported that the Biden administration was trying to shut down the Lake City plant here in Missouri. The Lake City plant was originally set up by Remington Company for the U.S. Army and with the U.S. Army in 1941 during World War II. The plant is now run by Winchester Olin, and it manufactures the majority of the ammunition used by the U.S. Army, Special Operations Forces, and the Marine Corps in this country. They were going to cut off the sale they were going to stop allowing Winchester to sell the 5.56 overruns to the public. Now, fortunately, y'all made a big enough stink, we did too, that didn't happen. It's still a risk, but right now, we have gotten allocations of ammunition from Lake City. They've begun to arrive. We are now seeing M193 5.56 and M855 5.56 coming in 14,000 round barrels. We're not allowed to sell the barrels unless you agree to not resell the barrel. If you agree to not resell the barrel, we can sell a barrel. You can get a hold of me at TacticalSht.T or on my social media DM if you want information on that. But what we're doing is we're repacking the ammo in 1,000-round cases and sending them out. So they're going out in cardboard boxes with plastic poly bags filled with loose ammo. And we're doing that at a great rate right now. We're at about 45 cents to 46 cents a round for American-made Lake City U.S. Army ammunition. It's the best pricing we've seen in years. Be back after this with the final segment. All right, we're back for the final segment of Shots Fired. I'm TJ Kurgan, a.k.a. Sig Glockenkolt. And I'm glad that you chose to spend an hour of this beautiful afternoon in Missouri and online, if you're watching the podcast, with me. We do this every day. We do it for free. We do it because we want to make a difference in the world. We want to give somebody some tactical self-defense device that could save their life or a loved one. We want to give somebody some gear that could save their life or their loved one. We want to give somebody, motivate somebody to get vocal about their rights so that we can save those rights for our children and our grandchildren. And that's why Alex and I do this show. Hopefully soon we'll be able to do it together. Lately, things have been tough. The firearms industry has been tough this year. We've had to do a lot of cracking down, and Alex has got to work, and so I'm here, and sometimes he's here and I'm not, but we'll be together for the rest of this week. Tomorrow, for sure. Thursday, for sure. We'll both be here. I know Alex talked about in the last show about this crazy Illinois stuff. I mean, I saw this new law in Illinois, and I thought it was a joke. The fact that, starting in January of 2023, basically it's the purge. If you live in Illinois and somebody is trespassing on your property, living in your garage or in your shed, the police can't remove them. You are responsible for removing them yourself. And if they get arrested for murdering you, for murder whacking you, as long as it's only murder too, they don't even have a bail or a bond. They get immediately released. It's a ticket in Illinois to emotionally murder whack somebody. Murder 2 is basically, I murdered you, and yeah, I'm guilty of murder, but it wasn't premeditated, right? So if I get mad at you in traffic and shoot you in the face, I'm getting a ticket for that. Is that insane? It's insane. I mean, the world we live in, these liberals are nuts. They're absolutely nuts. They are a cancer. And they are ruining states like Illinois and New York and California, Oregon, soon to be Texas, and eventually maybe someday Missouri. Because we're just kind of sitting back going, oh, this is cool. Yeah. Yeah. So if you live in Illinois, or if you go to Illinois for work, business, or play, I would highly recommend becoming a felon immediately and carrying a gun, because the police are absolutely going to do nothing to protect you. I wonder if you get arrested in Illinois on a gun charge, if they'll actually keep you, or if that's a ticket too. I guess we'll have to figure that one out. Maybe we'll call the Illinois State Highway Patrol, the state police, and ask them that question. I ought to do that live on the show. It'd be a good prank call. Hey, if you want to join my text club, which predominantly sends out great deals on ammunition, occasionally some notices on big sales we're having at the store. All you got to do is text the word tactical to 59769. That's tactical, TACTICAL, to the number 59769. So you pull up your text message thing, send a phone message to 59769, make the message tactical, and then follow the prompts. You got to prove that you're over 21. And also, I need to let you know that standard text and data rates may apply, and you are giving us permission to send automated text messages to you about deals on ammunition and guns and tactical gear. You can unsubscribe at any time by replying stop, so that's kind of cool. Did you guys hear that Springfield Armory came out with a new gun that's like literally got the internet all excited? I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Staccato. It used to be STI. They actually created this thing called a 2011 years ago in the competition world. It's basically a double stack 9mm 1911. Okay. They've kind of perfected it, made it more reliable. Double stack, meaning it holds a lot of bullets. It's a traditional 1911 style operation, so it's got your squeeze grip safety. It's also got a hammer safety. It has to be carried in condition 1. Cocked and loaded if you want to actually use it for self-defense, which, can be a little bit hard to get used to for some people. I've done it. But anyway, Staccato has been all the rage for years. They've made several different sizes of their 9mm 2011 system. They actually patented the 2011, trademarked the 2011 terminology. So Springfield, like every other gun manufacturer, sales are down 47% this year. And so they're scrambling to try to figure out ways to make more margin, because they're not going to make more money. And so they've decided to take on Staccato. Springfield has launched essentially an exact replica of a Staccato 2011. They just call it a double stack 1911. It's also known as the Prodigy. So far, the reviews show that it's pretty good. It's basically, they've taken a gun that normally costs $3,000 or more and made it about $800 using American ingenuity and mass production techniques. Seems to be fairly reliable, seems to be working. I've not touched one. I am a big fan of the Staccato 2011. But the Prodigy is something that you ought to check out. Do I sell it? No. But I think you ought to take a look at it. Springfield also just came out with a cool gun today. They just dropped, kind of part of their strategy, they dropped an M1 Garand in a shorty model. They're calling it the Tanker series. It's kind of a World War II throwback for guys that want to have the most effective weapon of war ever made, according to military generals, which is the M1 Garand. Hey, I want to talk about something sad. Industry sad. There's a company called Ready Gunner. Big shooting range and gun store and ammunition store online and in Utah. Guy was salt of the earth, incredible person. I never met him, but I have read tons and tons and tons of amazing words about him, because he has passed at 43 years old. The firearms industry has lost Neil Curry of Ready Gunner. Do not know how he passed. I have not seen any credible information as to how this 43-year-old firearms industry magnate passed away. I had heard some rumors that it was a car accident, but I don't know anything for sure, so I'm going to leave that speculation to other people and just say that the firearms industry has lost a great person. Former Army Ranger Neil Curry, rest in peace, you will be missed. I'll be back tomorrow with Dinah Death Milberg. We'll be talking more about this credit card stuff and more about Illinois, I'm sure. Stay frosty out there.